Good morning. It's Ann Metcalf here, and it is Sunday morning, July 24th, 2022. I'm outside in my garden for my alchemical shift, the conscious eating, conscious living chat that I have with you folks. And I'm doing this partly because I love exploring new things. There's so much to learn each day around our planet with each other. And this morning, our guest is the Yacon plant. And I grew this from a small little plant that I picked up at a local garden shop several months ago, put it in my garden. And I just thought I wanted to have it as our guest today. So we're talking about the Yacon, and I did some research last night and this morning, so I'm going to read that to you this morning as we sit and just feel the beautiful. We've got the sunshine today in sunny Sawasan, and we've got this beautiful plant here, and the leaves are soft, and this is a low plant. It's about 1 meter high, and they can grow up to almost 2 meters, 3 feet, 6 feet. Actually, 8 foot 4 inches is the highest one that I found recorded in the research I did. So it's a most exciting veggie with origins in South America, and it's now grown in many countries worldwide. It's also growing in my garden right here. And this place where I get it from often sells unusual plants, unavailable in most places, and unusual vegetables. So I'm so grateful. It was traditionally grown in the Andes Mountains, about 2,000 meters above sea level. So it's used at sort of high altitude. And it's called the Smallanthus sonchifolius. And it's been used in centuries by inhabitants of Peru. And the ancient Incas used it for nutritional properties. And they really liked it because it grows it's not actually tubers, it's rhizomes growing on the roots of the plant. And they would get many of these rhizomes that they could eat with each plant. And it's actually a perennial depending on how you harvest it. And the recorded reference was with the Spanish back in 1615. And it can grow up to 1 kilogram, which is 2.2 pounds in weight. So it can grow to be quite big, like the other root vegetables. And according to one source, Yacon's been used as a symbolic and religious plant since the time of the old Incas and civilizations. And there was another one I found, and it was called the Mocha culture in northern Peru, and was used apparently for special occasions. And the Mocha are actually particularly noted for their elaborately painted ceramics, gold work, and monumental constructions. And they also create a sort of similar pyramid type structures and irrigation systems. So who knows if they use those irrigation systems for growing the yucca. That I haven't been able to discover. And their pottery actually shows their fishing, their hunting activities, the war, and the sacrificial rituals. And they painted murals with warriors, with their prisoners, priests, and their supernatural beings. They actually believed in many gods. And so who knows what they were offering to the gods with the food, including the yucca. And effigies, apparently of edible food, may have been placed in the burials for nourishment of the dead and offerings to the gods and the underworld. And in Ecuador, it's often eaten during All Souls Day and other sort of religious ceremonies. And even though the Andean Highlanders have consumed it for centuries, it wasn't until the 1980s that it was received the scientific community's attention with its medicinal properties and put into practice. And the one thing with the bulb, it can be stored all winter, and so that was sort of insurance against famine. And it's also referred to as the Peruvian ground apple, and it's a distant relative of the sunflower, reaching heights of, well, up to 7 feet, 8 feet tall. And the leaves and the tuber, the plant rhizome, are edible. Traditionally, the leaves were made into tea, while the tubers were sliced and eaten raw. The syrup, which we can now create, is used as a replacement for common sugars. Yacon was used as a medicine for hundreds of years, and the big yacon leaves were used to wrap food during cooking in South America. And the name Yacon means watery root in Spanish because it is mainly water. It's now, how is it used? It can be eaten raw, which it was, fresh, and dried. And in recent years, it's been extended to syrups and in jams, juices, and breakfast cereal production. And it can also be fried, cooked, or roasted. And in some parts of Peru, they still connect it with a lot of cultural rituals and religious rituals. And apparently it contains 20 different amino acids, lots of fiber, potassium, some calcium, magnesium, iron, phosphorus, and some vitamins A, B1, B2, C, and some enzymes. And the bulb of the yacon contains up to 67% of the oligofructanes, and it's considered to be the richest source. And that's responsible for their sweet taste. And it's a unique type of sugar that the body cannot absorb, and I'll share that in a sec. And they act as a probiotic for the friendly bacteria in the intestine. And so yacon is rich in inulin and the fructooligosaccharides, the FOS, and both of which we recognize for enhancing the growth of good bacteria in the gut. And this is why the yacon tuber is considered a prebiotic sugar replacement. The inulin it contains has a sweet taste, but the body is unable to digest it. Therefore, it passes through the digestive system, providing a feeling of fullness without adding many calories or being transformed into glucose, making it ideal for weight management and for diabetes. It doesn't cure diabetes, but its unique sugars are diabetic neutral. So it's an alternative food for people with diabetes who cannot eat a high sugar content foods. And when eaten raw, one person was saying it has the snap of an apple combined with a hint of celery. So I'm looking forward to having some of my yacon, and that probably won't be until fall. So it's like a lot of the tubers and even potatoes that you have to wait a few months to get the most of it. And it's adaptable to smoothie recipes, and you can make a fruit drink or a vegetable mix or a combination of both. As we've mentioned, the root can be eaten raw like a jicama, and with that sweetness, I know I love my sweets. And let's see, I'm just sort of passing through some of this information. I don't want to repeat myself too much. So it doesn't have a lot of calories in it. And so that's partly why I think the benefit is you can eat lots of it, and you're not having a lot of calories, so you get that feeling of fullness. And when it's used in the syrup form, It's low, it's a low glycemic neutral sweetener. So it doesn't actually spike the blood sugar apparently. And because it's water, it's still got the fiber and some potassium, which helps us just in sort of, it's one of, I guess, one of those potassium-rich foods, kind of like bananas, that we need for our health. And somebody was also mentioning that because it's, it's slow to digest, and in some people it can be gas producing. So just kind of FYI, and it was always with these foods that I'm playing with and sharing with you, test them first in small amounts, always. And just see have you got the enzymes and the bacteria in your gut that can handle this new food that you're eating. Because so much of the diversity that we're experimenting with, our body may not be used to. So just go slow. And some people use the teas, but somebody was pointing out, you don't eat the leaves fresh. The roots you can, but the leaves themselves need to be eaten more as dried and used as a tea. And make sure that you need to peel the skin. And the other thing that I found interesting was that you can dry this rhizome, the root, and it can be dehydrated. And I'm going, people have used it for chips and have ground it into flour. And I'm going, yay, I'm going to try that one. And as the raw, you can use in purees, juices. And so lots of different uses that you can use for the Yacon. And also just check it out. And if you're on medications, check with your health care practitioner to make sure that this is okay to use. And with a couple of precautions always, certainly with the modern research that we have nowadays, that we can find out these things without being the guinea pigs ourselves, is that people with irritable bowel syndrome or SIBO, the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, just be aware that consuming Yacon and these other sources of high FOSs may cause them some GI discomfort. So just be aware that that's a possibility. And always with these things, just go slow, have little bits. And I found a website called herbazest.com/herbs.yacon. And it actually tells you more about this information and how to grow it. So for me, I was blessed with these beautiful little plants from Phoenix perennials, and so from which I'm very grateful, and I'm looking forward to playing with the Yacon in the future. And apparently you can get the powder online, different sites and different stores. So check out your markets, your organic stores, and just see if you can get the powder and learn for yourselves how to play with it and how to use it in your own kitchen. So that's it for now, and just blessings to all of you on this beautiful day, to share your loving light with your friends, your family. Remember, enjoy your cooking. When you are cooking your food, just appreciate it. Have gratitude for the sun, the soil, the microbiome in the soil that brought all the nutrients deep within the soil into the greens and the fruits and the vegetables that you're eating. And that gratitude and love flows within us when we eat it. And when you're serving it to your family, they are also receiving that beautiful love and gratitude. So until next time, have fun in your kitchen, enjoy your life, and much love as always.